Avast ye mateys, I see a mermaid ahead.
It's not a mermaid. Luckily for us today, we don't have this problem with our telescopes. We don't mistake manatees for mermaids. We can now see faraway nebulas and distant exoplanets, but we still have one problem left with modern telescopes: diffraction.
The focus of this project is exoplanet detection. Exoplanets in the habitable zone of a star reside very close to their parent star, often only being separated by about 1 arcsecond. This, combined with the brightness of the star, makes it very difficult to see the exoplanets, so any error or diffraction presents a huge problem. The largest problem scientists run into are diffraction flares. These are the spikes you commonly see around stars in photos, as you can see here. These diffraction patterns are created by the poor geometry of the telescope's secondary mirror struts. The main way to reduce these diffraction flares is to make the mirror struts precise arcs of a circle instead of straight lines. Additionally, when added, they must constitute an exact semicircle or an integer of. Doing this will cause the diffraction flares to fan out into more uniform patterns, removing those obstructive spikes. This means we can better identify exoplanets. The purpose of our project is to experimentally verify these concepts by testing differently shaped apertures. We will also verify if any curves will work or if they must be arcs of a circle. Finally, we will test the effects of the strut thickness on diffraction. Our hypotheses are that arc struts will work best, then curved, and then lines will not be very good. Thinner struts will also work better than thicker.
So in order to solve this problem, we're going to need to use some Aperture Science. Not that kind of Aperture Science.
To begin, we designed a sheet of apertures with different characteristics in Illustrator and cut them out using a Cricut cutter. After all the apertures have been cut out, we bring them on into the lab where we'll put them on one of these washers and it'll go right into the diffraction bench.
To use the diffraction bench, after we put the washer on top of the lens, we look at it in the Fresnel region to make sure it's aligned. We then move the camera backwards until we're in the Fraunhofer regime, and from there we take a picture and compare all the different results of the different apertures.
By using the Cricut cutter, we introduced a size limitation to our experiment. For instance, these ones are the smallest we could cut, 5 millimeters in diameter. At this size, the apertures let in a lot of light to the camera and made it difficult to see the Fraunhofer region. However, we still had a sufficient amount of accuracy in our results to make conclusions. And as for our results, we'll be making a couple different comparisons. The first between straight struts and curved struts. This one has straight struts, and you can see that it has very distinct flare-ups and a hexagonal shape. And this one has the 60-degree arc struts, and it has a very uniform circular shape. These results show that the struts must be arcs, and when added constitute a semicircle. The 3 60-degree arcs met this criteria and looked the best. The 3 30-degree arcs and randomly curved arcs don't, so they look worse. But all are clearly much better than straight struts. These results show what happens with increasing strut thickness from left to right. The spike lengths do not depend on thickness for the same geometry. We can see that thinner struts have thinner spikes and a more uniform azimuthal diffraction pattern with less blur. These results show the effectiveness of creating a curved pinwheel geometry. This greatly blurs out the diffraction flares and creates a diffraction pattern similar to that of a circle with no struts.
So in conclusion, we can see that just by making the struts of mirrors curved instead of straight, we can greatly reduce diffraction. This allows us to find new exoplanets all across our universe.
Way up she rises, way up she rises, way